Hola, hola, hello. ¿Cómo están? How are you today in this beautiful afternoon? Thanks for tuning here with this channel and also with my events from Lima, from the capital of Peru. My name is Vanessa Vasquez. I am your tour guide here in the city and also, well, in every occasion we are live. I try to bring a little bit of history, of Peruvian reality, and sometimes also, like in today, some recordings from my different adventures in locations that are completely off the beaten path. So, well, thanks for being here. Thanks also to my friends that are already sending me some messages here on the chat. Hola, Ashrith. Thanks for being here with me today. Thanks. Hola, hola. Annette. Hola, hello. Thanks for joining. Well, I hope you are ready to continue also with this this new series. Last time I used a recording from a trip I did to the incredible Ballestas Islands. It's a natural reserve located in the south coast of Peru. We were able to see lots of birds and different species endemic from this territory that also depend on the uh, humble current, which is this very cold current of water that we have here between Chile and Peru. Well, today we will continue in the south and we're going to travel also to an archaeological site. So let's begin. Otto Natalie, hello, hello, hello. Thanks for being here today. And as always, well, this event is going to be recorded. I hope the internet also is going to be with us for the for the whole event, along the whole event till the end. And well, the event of today is dedicated to an archaeological site that is like, well, the thousands we have in Peru. One of the many sites that were abandoned at the arrival of the conquistadors um, in the 16th century, and also like most of the archaeological sites also they are not in their best shape. Sometimes when we think in archaeological sites in Peru, well, the first site that comes to our mind is the incredible Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is not just an incredible site, so beautiful. It's like visually so incredible, like there's no comparison with that site. But also is the most famous archaeological site we have in Peru. On its side, also on its benefit, it goes the part that it was made in stone. Contrary to that, the archaeological site we will be seeing today virtually was made in mud bricks. And also, it was not as sort of like important for the societies that later came over this location and conquered this territory to keep it, to maintain it. And last but not least, I think the most important part that makes, for example, Machu Picchu being the gem it is that it was not discovered by the Incas, sorry, by the Spanish. No, the Spanish didn't destroy it. The Spanish didn't see it during the process of the conquest. But the rest of the archaeological sites that existed here were most of them destroyed by the Spanish, or they were sort of like doomed places. They were places that were considered to be homes for the devil. So, well, this site is located not far away from the cities that were this created by the Spanish in the coast, in the south coast of Peru. And well, now I think we're going to play the video and I will tell you a bit more about this site. Before I start, I would like to ask you if you're able to see the image. It's not in movement yet, but I just want to know if you're able to see the image of the video, the intro of the video. So it says archaeological sites Huaca Centinela. Okay, very good. Thank you, my friends. So I will lower the volume also because, well, the idea is that you will be able to hear me and also my explanation. So Huaca Centinela, it is located in the department of Ica. So Peru is divided in 24 departments. My city is located in the department of Lima. Huacala Centinela is located in the department of Ica in the province of Chincha. So Chincha borders with Lima's department. So to travel to that archaeological site, well, you need to leave Lima, for example, if you're coming as a traveler to Lima as a starting point, you say it's Lima. So you have to travel to Chincha for a space of 4 hours, more or less, by car. We usually do all our trips by by car. We don't take really planes to these sites. No, it's more practical for us to do it in that way. So we use the Pan American Highway, and this site is definitely not one of the most famous archaeological sites we have in the region, and that is because usually Ica is considered a destination for either, let's say, observation of birds. In the department of Pisco, there is the Ballestas Islands, also the reserve of Paracas. So that is one of the highlights of the region. And well, also another important highlight in the region is in the extreme south is the Nazca lines. But the Nazca lines are also, in a way, a testament of the archaeological importance of this site. So most of the times people just go in direction to straight or bypassing or overpassing this location just to reach the Nazca lines, and then after they continue the trips to other regions. So before we go to the history of this culture, we'd like to tell you a couple of things. So this gentleman, for example, he's one of the few tour guides that is permanently there in the museum. The museum is open pretty much every day of the week, and but you will not see really much people. We were the only tourists in the whole morning in the site. So he was very happy to have us. And he's a Chinchano, he's a person from Chincha, very proud of telling the history of his ancestors. But also, Chinchano people, people from Chincha, they are not just descendants or descents of the indigenous peoples, like we let's say ethnically and genetically native from this territory. They also are mixed. They are the children also of the Afros that were brought to this territory during the colonial times. Okay, so well, the archaeological site, La Centinela, was one of the most important archaeological sites we had in that territory, and it corresponds to a society, a culture. Sorry, I don't know why I'm putting the camera on that corner. I think I was looking for something. So now we are in the center. So it belongs to one very important group, culture that is, of course, pre-Hispanic and also is pre-Inca. So this is a picture of the site we will see. We will be walking soon inside the archaeological place. But just to give you an idea of the type of architecture that was done in the coast of Peru, we're talking about architecture made on mud. So once again, we're talking about the difference between Machu Picchu and this site, for example, or sites alike in the coast of Peru. The temples built by the pre-Hispanic societies in the Andes were made from stone. Machu Picchu made on stone. Cusco City, the foundation of these churches and temples made by the Spanish. Well, the foundation is actually the houses palaces and temples of the Incas, no? And they are made on stone because that's the material used in the Andes. And why? Because in the Andes rains a lot. In the Andes rains all the time, but in the coast we have very little amount of rain. So the societies, the coastal societies, were fully adapted to that characteristic. And here is sort of like a reconstruction of how these temples look like. And this is, of course, the way how they look from the sea, the way how they look from the ocean, because the front of these temples was oriented towards the ocean. At least Huaca Centinela, the archaeological site we will see, which is the way how we believe it looked like, and take a look on the most like tallest pyramid that you see there. We're going to be pretty much on the top of that pyramid at some point during this walking. No? So, well, these temples were made in mud, and they lasted for hundreds of years, some of them even thousands of years. So the culture that created this temple, and also, well, is known as one of the most important cultures of the coast of Peru, one of the richest cultures of the coast of Peru, is the Chincha culture. Well, named Chincha after the town that well is close to this archaeological site, but also the Chincha people were met by the Spanish. So the Spanish knew about this society, and here we can see also some Chincha people. Like this is there are two remains, human remains, probably from a, let's say, group of elite. The bones are incomplete, as you can see evidently. And also you can see in this recreation done with so much love and care by the museum how the Chincha Lord look like. No? So these people were very important. And so the Spanish, when they came to this territory, first let me tell you a little bit of how the Spanish knew about the Chincha people. Well, they knew the Incas, the Inca lords, the Inca authorities. They were accompanied with people from other groups, from other, let's say, cultures or other kingdoms that were subjects to the Incas. So the Chinchas were subjects to the Incas. They were annexed to the Incan culture, and they paid tributes to the Inca. But the Chinchas were so much loved and also so important to the Inca, to the Inca king, that, for example, at the time the Spanish met the king Atahualpa, the last Inca king of our history. Well, he was accompanied by a Chincha Capac. Chincha Capac. Capac means authority, king. So the king of the Chinchas was by the side of the Inca king. So, well, the potteries you're seeing in this very small museum, very modest museum, are potteries that belong to the Chincha period, that started about the year 1200, more or less, or 11, let's say 50 of our era, and ended the society as an independent society around the year 1470. So that is the period when they developed like independently without any association or affiliation with the Incas. They were great sailors. This is a recreation of their boats, these balsa boats that were very speedy, very fast. So this is a recreation, for example, of how the Chinchas had their boats that were seen by the Spanish with surprise, because these people were really excellent sailors. And later we're going to talk about also the distances they cover. Other element we can see here, for example, is this deity made in wood. The Chinchas were also excellent wood carvers. They work the wood fantastically. They had deities that represented in wood that still exist until these days. One, for example, is in Larco Museum that belongs to the Chincha. Sadly, we don't have like complete mummies in this place. Most of the products, no, that you see here were rescued from looting sites. The shells you see there, those are spondylus. The spondylus came from Ecuador. They brought it from Ecuador. And in the middle, you see a little puma. No? You saw a little puma over there. We're going to see again some puma images. So the pumas were very important for these pre-colonial people. No? Seems that they used to be pumas in this location. Also, weaving tools, sandals, also some cotton, their original cotton, original yarns of wool, llama or alpaca wool, these little dolls that you see over there. Nowadays, you can find also in Chincha replicas of those little dolls, these miniature dolls that were discovered in tombs. We don't know exactly what they represented, what was the message they were trying uh, to carry with them to the afterlife, but seems that these were very important elements. So the deities they worship were marine deities, lots of birds, sea birds. Yes, and they're very sweet. They're very little. No? They're like little girls that are standing one next to the other. And also, well, the puma is represented. Here we can see also some skulls rescued from the site. These pieces of like the vessels, ships, or let's say balsas they use, some potteries, and even also some gores that you see like used like plates. So this is sort of like a recreation of a funerary context. Um, and it's so sad that most of these pieces were discovered out of their context. No, they were just like picked up, recollected by the neighbors, and that's how finally they were able to create a museum out of this place. So this is this important deity constantly represented by them that looks like a puma. So since that in the language of these people, by the way, they spoke Chinchai, which was a language, of course, completely lost after the arrival of the conquistadors, as there were many other languages that existed back in that time also completely lost. No? So this god looks like he was eating a human head. Oh. The explanation that the guys had was very interesting. He said that in his opinion, it looked like the god is giving birth to a Chincha man. Oh. So this could be a say interpretation, a local interpretation. Beans, for example, peanuts from the site that were also rescued, and seems that besides that their diet was very well very diverse, and well supplied. They were able to have products from different locations. Corn, this is the purple corn, and this is the regular corn we eat here. Very tasty, by the way. They access like products that were also even international, no? Like the shells that you saw in the beginning, that they're from Ecuador. So they were traders. These type of potteries are more simple. They are more like a, let's say, domestic type of potteries. Also, the style of the chincha in the decoration of the most pretty potteries will consist in, let's say, first of all, having the base of the color of the pottery in red color, and then painting over, like this one, for example, more reddish, and painting over in white and black. So this is like a more ceremonial type of ceramic. And this is a typical form shape of the potteries of the Chincha. also like a roundish with two handles also in one in each side, and sometimes the representation of a deity or an entity there. So their language was Chinchai, lost language, but also seems that at the time of their conquest by the Incas around the year 1470. So that is before the conquest of the Spanish. They were conquered, they were annexed by the Incas. They also started to use the Quechua as a, say, as a language for easier communication in their trade system. Mm. So it seems that the Incas valued them very, very much because they were excellent sailors. So the Incas, because they were an Andean society, a society that was born in the Andes, in the mountains, they didn't have the experience in sailing as the Chinchas did. Also, adding them to their, let's say, to the list of friends was very valuable, very, very important, because it will give them also the opportunity to sail and to achieve more conquest and to expand also their territory more. This society, there was any glitch because I saw a little bit my screen sort of like a freezing. So if you can still see everything, just let me know, please. um, so I was saying that this society was really fantastic in the trade system. Um, so everything goes good. Oh, okay, okay. Gracias, Annette. Thank you, thank you. They were able to sail to the north to Ecuador, and they got also products from there, like for example the spondylus shell, which was considered the food of the gods. So the muscle inside the shell, there's a flesh and meat that is white color that was not consumed by humans, but it was given to the gods. And seems that the association done between the muscle, the spondylus, this red thorny shell, and the gods was also related with the apparition of this shell in territories much southern, just during the phenomenon of El Nino, which is the increasing of the temperatures of the water because the current of Humboldt just goes like, or stays like southern. It doesn't penetrate the north coast of Peru. So the temperature of all the atmosphere becomes hotter and hotter and hotter, and there's more rain in the coast. So well, that was probably the reason why the shell was considered so special. Okay, so well, they trade with products because there was no currency in the pre-Hispanic time. Hola, Marilyn, thanks for being here. No worries. Um, we are just about to get inside the site, but you can see there's more archaeological space across the wall section. So the site museum we just visited is at the entrance of the archaeological site, and the archaeological site that has been studied and partially restored is fenced. So in that way, people will not just loot in this site because it tends to be desolated at nighttime. There are guardians also here. Taking care of this place daytime, nighttime. They check on the admission fees to get inside this temple. But this site was the capital or part of the capital of the Chincha people. So that means that, well, this site was definitely very, very important, no? And much bigger, much, much bigger. So these are the admission tickets. Look, for children, just 1 sol. And for adults, it was 5 soles, so far I remember. So it's really a little fee. And archaeological sites more famous, like Machu Picchu, for example, support the restoration, the maintenance, the keeping of museums and archaeological sites that are less famous than the World Wonder. Okay, so some people think that's not fair. Some people think that's fair. I do think it's fair because we need to take care of these places and Doesn't matter how many people come to visit in person, no? So they are our heritage too. So, well, this site, Centinela is the person that is the sort of like a guardian. A centinela is a guardian, no? So the reason why it's called Centinela is because it has a very big temple, very, very tall, actually, very high. And from there, a watch man could be put and seen all this location around. Also, it was sort of like used at some point to as a viewpoint for the whole section of the valley. And we're just few blocks away the ocean. Also, this society, as I said before, were worshippers of sea creatures, of the marine species, but also the Chinchas were worshippers of the puma, who they call also in their language Chincha. Huh? So there is an association between, well, the word Chincha and the pumas, and seems that definitely there were pumas coming every once in a while from the Andes down the coast. Also, that's why they consider them important and special. Well, this site, we can imagine it back in the days when it was, let's say, in its peak, no, in its highest moment, no? Like the Chinchas, as you know, already were very well loved by the Incas, and they supplied the Incas with different products. So before being part of the Incas, they, in their period of sort of like independency, no, they were traders, by sea. Well, they had, of course, mobility along the coast. They even went down to Chile also, to the nowadays territories of Chile, and inland with llamas, because they had lots of llamas. There were lots of llamas owned by these Chincha people. They were able to travel to the South Andes territory to obtain minerals. So they trade for probably fish, and different mussels and different sea species, with, for example, gold, silver, and also they had access to copper. Copper was a very important metal for that time. And they use, for example, these minerals from the south, and they trade with them in the north. Also, that's how they did. They were very savvy in that sense. So this is a big plaza, which probably was used for some type of rituals and ceremonies. The Chinchas are connected culturally with societies that existed in this location. For example, the immediate culture, like before them, is the Nazca culture, which, if you don't know who are the Nazcas, I highly, highly recommend you to go to my back to my YouTube channel, to my different webinars dedicated to history. There's one dedicated to the Nazca culture, and also to the society that existed before them, which is the Paracas. So they are the continuation of first Paracas, then Nazca, and then Chincha. This temple, look at the material. The material used in the coast of Peru is mud bricks. But not every society of the coast built using the same techniques. At the end, they all reached a level of understanding of the nature of the coast, understanding the earthquakes, that, well, they were able to build temples that were so durable. So we are now going above the temple. For sure, under us, there is also other platforms, parts of the ancient temple that, well, nowadays is very difficult to rescue. It's almost impossible. You need really a lot of money to be able to bring back archaeological sites under this condition. But also, another thing interesting is that under every temple and every archaeological site, there are mummies, there are objects of great importance that were most of the times buried to build a next level of temple. because these temples are sort of like the Russian dolls. That if you open one, inside there's another smaller one, and there's another smaller one inside. So this is the idea. No? So we know that the archaeological site we're seeing used to be covered in paintings, in frescoes. Some few were discovered in the site. But well, sadly, the time also has damaged many of them. It's more because of the erosion. The ocean is right there, you see it. Also, as I said before, we're just a few blocks away the sea. And the cross you see there is, of course, a reminder of the presence of the conquistadors, of course, much later in the history of this site. So there you can see also some of the materials that are part of the construction. Again, mud bricks. So the technique used to build most of the temple is what we call tapia. So the tapia consists in using molds, like big, like wooden, let's say, boards, right? So one big woodward and another woodward, and there will be a space of, let's say, 1.5 meters in between both. And you will be filling inside the in between empty space with mud. Also, fresh mud. Also, you're going to be like put it like using a mold to make, I don't know, like a sand castle, for example, like the same. No? So you're going to be, but this is a fresh mud. This is fresh mud. So that's how the walls were made. Also, the same happens with the temples. No, of course, that you will not use two walls. You will use just one, and you will use it like to contain the material, the fresh material, and you're going to do like by panels. No, so you're going to like do like one segment of the wall. Then when it was done, you will continue with the next segment and the next segment. So that's why you see like big, like brick blocks, something like that, in the temples. So this is the highest temple, and the cross over there is also related with this idea of the process of the evangelization of the site. There were also lots of stories related with a treasure inside this particular place in Huaca Centinela. The conquistadors learn about this story, and the story starts, well, at the time of the conquest, basically. So in the conquest, during the process of the conquest and the capture of Inca Atahualpa in Cajamarca, Atahualpa Inca offered a ransom for his liberation. So he offered to pay the Spanish for his freedom. So the Spanish accepted. They say, okay, no problem. Of course, like now we're talking. And oh, sorry, you can see in this zoom, for example, these niches that have these trapezoidal forms, and the trapezoidal form also shows the Incan influence. Now, the Incas use these trapezoid niches or trapezoid windows or door frames. So that's a little bit of the Incan influence as well. So, well, as I was saying, so the Inca Atahualpa offer a big ransom. And the condition the Spanish had to accept this ransom was that they will send Spanish Spanish people with the indigenous that were being delivered by the Inca to bring gold. Okay, so in that way, the Spanish will know from where this gold was coming, to the Inca, just in case, no. And there were many sites in Peru of great importance that had enough gold for accomplishing the offering that Atahualpa promised. He offered a big room that he marked also the height until where the gold will reach. No? So a big room full of gold and two rooms full of silver. So it was a lot of gold to be picked up, no, for that ransom. So the gold came from Pachacamac in the south of Lima and from Cusco. okay, from the city of Cusco, the Coricancha, the Temple of the Sun, but also came from other locations. So the legend says that this place also had a lot of gold. No? Well, the story continues like this. On the way, let's say, of the bringing of gold to Cajamarca in the north, to, let's say, to accomplish this ransom. Hola, Marilu. Thanks for being here. A big chain of gold was being transported from Cusco in direction to Cajamarca. A big chain of gold. That's the legend, okay? So, sorry, this is the way how the reconstruction probably is. Like we have an idea of a possible reconstruction. We're not very sure of that, but we can see that there are ramps, for example, ramps of access to the constructions. This could be also a palace, a space of, let's say, a private space for the leader. In a moment, I will tell a bit of the structure, the social structure. Across the Pan American Highway, also, there is another temple that you saw in the distance with a cross. There are rooms and like a spaces. This feels like a house, indeed, with a patio at the entrance for depositing or placing, let's say, offerings. You would never go to visit a lord or an important leader without presence, or something to offer. So these are just the foundations, or the base, let's say, of walls that probably belong to rooms. But there's not really much left standing to be very accurate in saying how the house was, how the temple was. We have very few examples of constructions in good shape in the coast of Peru, and we continue going higher and higher. So, well, going back to the story, so this golden chain was very, very heavy, So, but the indigenous were carrying it to Cajamarca. So, but they got the information. They were still on their way to Cajamarca to give it to the Inca, for his liberation. They got the information that the Inca was already killed by the Spanish. So in order to, let's say, they didn't want to give it to the Spanish now. There was no point in that. So the story, the legend says that they left the chain in this temple, in this site, okay? And they hide it, so the Spanish noticed that, learn about this story, that there was a big golden chain in this site. So they came to this temple and they started to loot. They started to dig everywhere, and they never found it. Okay, so the legend says that the chain is still there, and that's probably why there was so much looting in this site. Look at the walls; they are almost 90 degrees, no? So they are very, very steep walls, and this is a pyramid still, but very, very steep, also point. Mhm. And it was a flat roofed pyramid. Okay, so we couldn't go any deeper in. We couldn't go any farther away. But well, some people venture to the top. I mean, I am very, very conscious on not destroying temples and not stepping over walls and temples. Some people don't care much, but I prefer not to step in there and damage something, no? And my daughters also, which are the ones there, way my three girls, they are very adventurous too. So they love to go to archaeological sites, to the highest points. You can see archaeological sites across. Also, there's another one. That hill is not a hill across that plantation. That also corresponds to Huaca Centinela, to the archaeological site. So we are basically talking of a big administrative center, that was also our own different pyramids and temples around. So it seems that ships, the balsa ships that belong to these Chincha people, came to that location probably with products loaded with maybe spondylus and with different goods from different sites. And in here they were received, and then distributed. Okay, so the Chinchas had a very interesting stratification system, like alike to many of the very advanced societies of that time. No? First of all, we're talking about religious societies. Their authorities were also, well, like monarchs, like kings. No? But at the same time, they had supernatural powers. They had certain level of, let's say, right to rule because they were superior, because they were chosen by the gods, or they came from gods. Okay, so the top of the society was the nobility, and the very top actually was the Chinchay Capac. Oh, Capac comes from the Quechua for lord, for leader, for authority. Mhm. And well, Chincha, well, the lord of the Chinchas. And his family and his extended family also. So that was the nobility that ruled this location. Like below, the priests, also the leaders of the cult of the Chincha, and the worshipping to the Puma, especially their main symbol, the Puma. They also worship another deity associated with the ocean. And that deity was Urpiwachak. Urpiwachak is, according to the legends and the traditions, the creator and the keeper of the fishes. So Urpiwachak was a goddess, by the way, and she was the one that had authority over the fishes. So they worship Urpiwachak if they wanted to have good fishing. And also they offer her different like presents because she was also owner, an administrator of the guano. The guano is the poop of the seabirds, which seems that she well owned, and that product was known since pre-Hispanic times as a fertilizer. A little parenthesis, you can see here these niches that look very Incan, very, very Incan. This style that is the trapezoidal niches is something you will see in Cusco, for example. You will see something exactly the same in Cusco, but in stone, not in mud. Also, that also shows this association with the Incas, the acceptance of the Incan technology, of the Incan iconography as well, but also keeping their own lords, their own authorities, keeping, let's say, the power as well among the nobility Chincha. So that's something the Incas did a lot back then. Um, of course, if you accept them in peace, but if you were not eager to accept them in peace, they were also terrible warriors, and there are many legends about how mean they were when someone revealed to them. No, so they were not, let's say, angels. No, and well, you can see also a bit more. So this probably was a space for administrative purposes as well, or ritual. It could be that plaza we saw behind. Probably you don't notice, but there are lots of birds. There are lots of birds, and those are swallows. Swallows. There are so many. Those little ones, thousands of swallows, and they love these spaces because they actually eat insects. The swallows. So there are lots of insects, little ones in this floor, in this soil. So they are very good hunters of those insects. So they are revolving always around this section. So in you're seeing a bit more of these temples. And so keep in mind that this archaeological site is, as I said before, the capital, or belongs to the capital of the Chincha people, one of the most important societies that were annexed by the Incas. When the Spanish came, this is the way how we think the temple looked like. Um, Ramps and rooms, roofed, of course. That was roofed at some point. When the Spanish came, there were not just Incas here. There were so many other societies, some of them in peace and all together, and some of them fighting against the Incas. That's why the Spanish had support because they were enemies to the Incas that ended up supporting them. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed this little tour. And my intention with this series is trying to show you off the beaten path destinations, places that I think are important to support, to know about, to promote. Um, well, something that is not so easy to be done, especially if you're not Machu Picchu. If you're not in Cusco and you're trying to show a site in Cusco. So, well, this is really something I do with love and intention, the intention of helping my colleagues in different places to be able to get a little bit of exposure also. Like, for example, our wonderful guide in the Site Museum of La Centinela. So, well, this is the end of this video. Let me also stop sharing over here. And and well, thanks for being here until the end of this event. I will also upload this video, the recording of this video, also later if you want to see it again, if you want to replay it. I know that the quality of the video or this live made from a video once uploaded is not really the best, but I will not give up. I will still do it. It's easier to do it in YouTube for most of you instead of doing it in Zoom, where the quality might be a little bit better. So, but let me know what you think. What are your thoughts about this other project? And also, in some few more days, I will be doing another event dedicated this time also to another culture. So it's going to be more like a webinar again. So please come visit me, or if you can't do it in person, there will be a recording at the end. So if you watch this video also later, you can help me by giving a like, by commenting. Also, if you wish to do a donation, there is a link also here in the chat and in the description of the video later. So you can help me also to continue creating more activities, more events, more webinars and talks. But of course, like any support is any support is highly appreciated. So muchas gracias, amigos, amigas. Let me check if there is any question here in the chat. Thanks for being here. Gracias, Marilu. Oh, gracias, Marilu. Thank you. Thank you. I'm reading here the comments. Gracias, Natalie. Gracias, Annette, amiga. Thanks for being here, joining. Gracias. Gracias, Marilyn. I'm going to see if she'll do a virtual kitchen, Mary. Oh, yes. Well, I hope that we can also do something because I know Annette does some virtual cooking. So anything that you want me to, I will be delighted to support also with some Peruvian gastronomy, maybe some pre-Hispanic food also. So, well, gracias, amigos, and see you soon. Have a lovely rest of the day. And, well, hope until a few days with my webinar. Gracias. Ciao. Gracias, Annette. Of course. Bye bye. See you.